Yeah, what's up? What's going on? Just hanging out here on the court of the Texas Legends here at the Comerica Center in Frisco, Texas. G League team of the Dallas Mavericks. Come inside and welcome to Court Cousins.
Welcome, everybody, to Court Cousins, episode 58. My name is Kyle. I'm joined, as always, by my dashing, my daring, my witty cousin, Jason the Peach. Jason, can you tell the people what we got for today's show, sir?
Today we got that great psychological check-in, as always, kicking us off. Then the creamy center known as the Orlando Magic Talk begins with social media roundup, just the way you like it. And then today, we're going back to the Cousins court. Some people are going to be put on trial and held accountable. And then, of course, the large ending, which is always a good time.
Yeah, make sure you don't go anywhere for that one. But before any of that hijinks...
Or skip right to the end and watch it now, and then come back.
Oh, wow, that would be loopy. But that's on brand for us. That's on brand for us. Shout out to all our All-Stars and second cousins over on the Patreon page. Magic Player History, Bolby the Don, Paulo and Franz's Warmth, Andy, Dylan Holden, Drum, Rafael Perez, Breadhead, Matthew Bell, Dan Young, Gloria and Damien, Connor, and Yachty.
What's up?
That's the shout-out, Fish?
No, it doesn't always have to be loud, right? It's just a shout-out. It's just sup. What's going on?
Thank you very much for all of the patrons over there that support to help us pay for, the streaming software that I'm running right now, the Podbean, to send this out to all the Magic fans across the world, and to help us make every year Court Cousins Night down in Orlando an amazing time. So right now, very excited to announce Court Cousins Night is going to be Thursday, March 21st, when the Orlando Magic take on the New Orleans Pelicans at the Kia Center, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. Make sure to get your tickets. These tickets are heavily discounted, 35%. You can see those Magic tickets prices have been going up, up, up. These tickets are lower bowl, $83. We're in the lower bowl on the sideline, so that's a pretty good price based on what has been happening this year. More people coming to the game, so that's great. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be doing tons of giveaways. First giveaway we're doing is if you're one of the first 10 people to get tickets for this event, you're entered in to win a jersey. So you got a 1 in 10 shot to win an Orlando Magic jersey. And then on the day, if you were there last year, we did tons of raffles. We got hooked up with some stuff from the Magic. We put in some money ourselves and from the generous Patreons on over there and made it. I mean, everyone walked away with something, Peach. Peach just walked away. Oh, you got something. What?
I got a couple of fleece blankets. I can already say will be on hand with us at the time. I know by March you usually don't need them down there, but we got some gear. We're starting to pile it up.
So make sure you get your tickets now and join us for that. It's going to be a really good time, Peach. I'm looking forward to hanging.
Yeah, you can meet all three of us. You can meet Kyle, me, and then Zombie Kyle. We'll all be there.
Well, we'll see. We're going to get to 2024 resolutions, and we'll see what happens. Zombie Kyle may not make an appearance.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should write that check, buddy.
Yeah, maybe not. And maybe I shouldn't publicize it because maybe the people want the Zombie Kyle. Who knows?
I mean,
I love you, Ornello. The real ones know.
Nice.
All right. Well, Peach, it's been quite some time, man. Our schedules were going back and forth. It was tough to lock it down. We're here. It's like 3 weeks since our last episode. Haven't had too much time to talk. What's going on, man? How are you doing for the psychological check-in?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it real as I always do here at the beginning of the show. This is a picture of Cole. He looks frustrated, maybe a little confused. That's me. In the dating world, recently had a situation that left me feeling much like this, sort of like, what? Um, kind of not really sure what happened, but it's done. It's over with. I gotta say the worst part about like dating, especially nowadays, is seems like you kind of are doing that. You're talking about all that getting to know you stuff, and you do all that stuff, and you get to a certain point, and then it goes flat, doesn't work. Then you got to start over and do it again. And you just feel like you end up telling the same stories over and over about yourself. And like, I'm sick of hearing myself talk about myself to people. Like at this point, I'd like to just jump into like 2 months down the road where you already know some basic shit. And now we can figure out like, what we like to do on the weekends together and shit, so it's a little confusing and aggravating. And I think that's why I go long distances between even trying to date, because it's getting frustrating. You don't get any answers. I don't mind failing if I learn something so that I can correct it for next time. But in this case, if I didn't fail and it just, okay, it's a word different or whatever, but you need answers, right? Like when something goes wrong, don't you feel like you need, if you don't get them, you feel like, what happened all this time? There's not even another human here to interact with anymore after all that talking. What were we fighting for? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, that's tough, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I know you'll bounce back. Anyone out there know any ladies in the greater Dallas, Texas area that want to jump to 2 months into a relationship?
Yeah, let's just go and let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Vegas. We'll get married and we'll work backwards from there. I mean, I feel like there's reality shows like that, aren't there? Are they casting? I mean, I'm in. Let's give it a shot at this point. The traditional route is not working for me. Let's try something new.
Court Cousins, the matrimony episode.
Yeah. What? How's your psychological check-in feeling this week?
All right, so my psychological check-in, I think on last show I mentioned how I was going on a retreat. I was like an addiction retreat, dealing with some of my, pornography, fantasy stuff. And that was just so wonderful, man. It's so wonderful. For folks that haven't been in A rooms ever, they are just some of the most raw and vulnerable and real spaces that exist in the world. Some people get that through religion. Some people get that through various community groups. I've found it in A rooms throughout my life. And it was
What's
just
an A room? Sorry, I hate to cut you off,
No. A room is like an anonymous room. So it's like Alcohol is Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Sex Love Addicts Anonymous. I mean, there's an A room. I mean, there's, Internet and Addicts Anonymous. Like there are social media addicts anonymous now, like as the modern world is changing and we're learning how these things are affecting us. They're just spaces of real vulnerability. So I hadn't been in the rooms because I've been managing this addiction for a long time, and didn't feel like I needed it. But so it's been maybe like 4 or 5 years since I've been, and I went to this retreat. And man, I have this picture here of Cole getting helped up off the floor by a couple of his teammates. And that's really what it felt like. It was just great to be in a space where you really feel seen, heard. You feel like you're not alone. People from all different backgrounds, all walks of life, all different ages, but coming together in a solidarity around one thing. And it was just really wonderful. My spirit feels full right now. I feel good going into the end of this year, and I'm having some resolutions that we'll probably talk about later on. But I'm feeling connected right now to people in that community and some of my friends around here who I've been reconnecting with after having that experience. So yeah, feeling pretty good, man. Feeling pretty good. Very blessed. So make sure, ladies and gentlemen, to check in with your loved ones. Do your own version of the psychological check-in. Don't be afraid to share your truth and to have others hear it, because I think you'll be surprised by how people react. Even to things that we think are shameful and that nobody can understand, humanity tends to come through for us. So let's get right into the social media roundup now, talking about some Orlando Magic news and notes. The first one, this has been, for a while news, but we haven't talked about it, Peesh. I'm curious to get your take. The Amway Arena has been renamed the Kia Center. Yeah. How you feeling
Beautiful.
about the Kia Center?
I feel good about it. Kia is a current automaker.
Yeah.
Amway was a thing. I don't know if that's still a company. I don't hear about it. I mean, I feel like I heard about it in like maybe the 90s. Like I just, it's such an old company. I don't feel like they do business anymore. If they do, I'm sorry. I don't know what they're providing anymore. I thought it used to be like a pyramid scam for cleaning supplies, but I really don't know what they do. And I thought it was a really antiquated name that we had on our arena anyway. And I understand there's a tie to the family that
Right.
owns the team, but it just still felt like this is really outdated. Kia used to be kind of shitty cars, but now they've kind of changed their logo and everything like that. And like, look, I changed the logo on the sign, so I'm ready to go. I'm here for it. I'm all right with it. How do you feel about it?
Well, you know, I'm a big. I like the alliteration of Amway Arena. Like A and A, that's nice. As an English teacher, I like how that rolled off the tongue. I do enjoy the Soul Center because that gives me a little bit of that alliteration. Not the same word, but the same sound. Not the same letter, but the same sound. And, you know, when Nadra and I had our vacation in Phoenix, we were driving around the Kia Soul. And while we were watching the game, she learned that news. She said, "Oh, it's the Soul Center." I said, "Baby, that's fucking awesome. I'm stealing that." And I like it. The Soul Center, baby. We're going down to the Soul Center Thursday, March 21st for Court Cousins night. You better be there. Second Cousins, we'll see you there. It's going to be a good time. This was
really hoping that Soul Center catches on. So anything you can do.
Can everyone say it and spread it around, please? You had this one. This one's from Magic Nation CP. What I Sleep On, which is a nice bed set of Magic comforter pillowcases. That's nice for anyone. And then what y'all sleeping on, Paulo and Franz. The Magic have won 6 games in a row after beating the top-seeded Celtics. This was a while ago. This was during that 9-game run. We've come back down to earth a little bit, but you still think people are sleeping on Paulo and Franz, Pish?
I think the basketball nation in general is probably sleeping on us a little, but there's always 1 or 2 teams every year that, like, you know, you flip in a couple months in and you look at the standings and you're like, oh,
yeah,
they're there. And I legitimately had my boss approach me last week and pretty much say that same thing, where he was like, "Hey, the Orlando Magic, they're good." And I'm like, I know. Like, you're telling the guy who knows. Like, tell everyone else, because I don't think they know. And because he was also saying that, hey, Minnesota, because he's from Minnesota, they're also good. And I'm like, yeah, I know. They're good. They got some good players on their roster. Anthony Edwards. And he was like, okay. Like, so, I mean, yeah, not everybody is like talking about it, but I think the longer we stay up in those top 4 of the Eastern Conference, the more we demand that respect, right? Like, obviously, I think the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Sixers are ahead of us. But I think any other team in the Eastern Conference should be at or below where we are. So we need to stay at the top of that list to be in more people's conversation, not slept on quite as much. By the way, I could see a single you totally rocking that bedspread.
I don't know. Maybe it would have to be. I'm not planning on bringing anyone home to that. It could go either way.
That's the guest room.
Yeah. Well, okay, fair. I'm saying if you bring a lady or a gentleman, depending on your persuasion, back to that, it can either go very well or very bad. I mean, that can immediately cause things to go drier than the desert, and she's walking out of there. Or you could find your wife. She could come in and be like, "Oh my God, this is awesome. I love the NBA. I love the Magic." And then
I think maybe you've cracked my code, because if people came into my apartment, you know, it's either you're okay with it or you're out.
Yeah,
maybe that's
walking in and walking out.
Maybe that's what did it. But you know what? If you don't like this, you don't like me.
Yeah. See, that's it. 2024. We're being ourselves. Pish. I mean, I don't know. I see a lot now this year. I listen to a lot of other, you know, just NBA podcasts and things, and the Magic are getting a lot of burn on some of these NBA podcasts around the league. People are definitely recognizing the Orlando Magic and the foundation that is here, particularly with Paolo Banchero, who everyone thinks should be an all-star this year, and Franz Wagner, who people think are kind of on that fringe. If he would have been shooting the 3-ball a little bit better this year, I think he could have gotten in there. But the foundation is real, and people are starting to notice it. You want to know who's not noticing it? whoever makes the damn NBA TV schedule, because we can't get a game, and Victor Trashbinyama is over in San Antonio. They're losing every freaking game, and he can get more national games than us. What's up with that, NBA?
Well, that's part of because people slept on us last year, and they make the schedule in the offseason, right? So I think if they could go back right now and change the rest of the season, there'd be Magic games on. But they
flex games. They flex. Don't cover for them, Peesh. Don't try to do this. No devil's advocate here. They're in the wrong. They should have put them in Cousins Court later on. So they're sleeping on us. But I think also it's okay. It's who's not sleeping on us. Let me rephrase this. Who's not sleeping on us is coaches around the league, and we're starting to see that after our 9-game winning streak. People are just the blueprint is out. Bog the paint down and challenge them to shoot. So I think Gilbert Arenas wants to make crazy claims like no one's scouting Paolo Banchero. Bullshit, man. The scouting report is out. You can see it in the way that teams are defending us. They're trying to clog the paint. They're forcing us to shoot. We beat the Knicks last night, but I think we shot 21% from three. And we only beat them because they shot 20% from three. So it's like, yeah, we can beat a team that's not designed to shoot the three ball, but there's still some glaring things in this team that need to be addressed before people really wake up and see us as a force to be reckoned with in the East. Because like you said, it's going to be tough to leapfrog those top 3 teams to really make noise and see ourselves in the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where at some point everyone will stop sleeping on us. And I know that we're right around the corner from that and getting all-stars and getting more people talking about us. I mean, think about a regular NBA podcast, how sick they must get of talking about the same teams all the time, the Lakers and teams that don't even matter sometimes.
Celtics.
They've got to talk about. They're stoked to have a new team to talk about with like these new players that like they haven't been talking about yet, have been in the league together for a while. So I think it's great for the game all the way around to have some fresh blood in there. Last year it was Sacramento, right? That kind of came out of nowhere. And you're like, holy shit, here we go. Yep. And this year we're in that conversation. So that's good.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of young teams that are coming up. Like you said, Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves, Oklahoma City Thunder, Sacramento Kings. I mean, they're not – De'Aaron Fox has been on his like second or third contract now. But these are new teams. Like you said, fresh blood. There's a lot of parity, and that's a good thing for the league. You know who a lot of people sleep on, Peesh? Those Catamounts.
They do.
And they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't. They do. You want to sleep on them come March? All right. Yeah. But like, if you're talking about America East play and regular season play, they're one of the winningest D1 college basketball teams right now going, like for the last 10, 15 years, because they just win, baby. Wow. And they found a way to do it somehow. Well, being down 5 with 3.8 seconds left, they found a way to win the game in regulation. If you haven't seen that clip, I'm sure you did. It was everywhere. CBS Sports picked it up. I mean, it was kind of everywhere. It's an amazing video. You got to check it out. Make a quick layup, steal the inbound. Shoot
they got a foul on the inbound.
Fouled. Yeah, got a foul on the inbound, and then shoot a 3 and get fouled doing it and hit the free throw. I mean, that's bananas kind of stuff. When I was working there, we were building the foundation for this whole thing. So I always love to see Vermont. It's not just an alma mater for me. It's part of like where I grew up. It's part of where I started my career. Honestly, I used to be in this picture that you see that we have stilled. There's a woman standing just above the hoop in yellow. That's where I would stand for all the UVM games. I would stand right there along that wall. I'd be there for all the games. So like, this really hits home for me, but a great moment for the university and a great moment for basketball. That is something you do not see that often.
And it's a good lesson because there were a lot of people streaming out when it was down 5, 3.8 seconds to go. People trying to get to the car, get to the lot. What is it called? No, it's not the Gutterson. It's the... Is it the
Gutterson is the hockey rink. This is Patrick Gym.
Patrick Gym. I mean, it's packed out every game. Yep. A lot of people
got to beat the traffic.
A lot of people are trying to beat the traffic, and this is a lesson for all of us because they missed, and they've got to be kicking themselves. Can you imagine? You walked out, you're getting to your car, and then this happens. You missed history. It's a
That's
lesson
why
for
you
all
don't
of
leave
us.
games early, everybody. But
Yeah.
as a devil's advocate, I think the world found a way to balance this power out, because I think it was about a week later against Miami of Ohio, they hit a buzzer beater to defeat us at the buzzer. So I think they leveled things out.
Lady Justice
Yeah.
always gets her mark. All right, so this next one, more general, some general NBA stuff before we go back to Orlando Magic news and updates. This is a post about all the folks that are ineligible. I guess this is Magic adjacent. We have a Magic player on here that are ineligible for postseason awards, and this is due to the new requirement for games for postseason awards. Is that correct? Yeah. So I forget what the number is. Is it 65? I think something like that. 65
like that.
games you need to be eligible for postseason awards. So the big name here is Ja Morant. But also heavily injured and very disappointing for the Suns. Who could have saw that coming? I don't know. Everybody? Bradley Beal. Just like such an overpaid player for what he brings. And then our guy, Markelle Fultz, missing 20 games, is now ineligible for those postseason awards. Ben Simmons and Tyler Hero. On the watch is Jamal Murray, Marcus Smart, and Draymond Green, who we're going to talk about in just a little bit. He will be missing this.
Well, and another guy not on this list, but I think it's worth bringing up, is Mr. Isaac, who I think people thought could be Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sure he'll fall out of those postseason award conversations.
Yeah, he might be.
I think
Wendell Carter Jr.
I think it's about time for. Well, I think it's about time for the Magic to take a look at the fact that these guys can't stay healthy and realize that, like, look, for most of when we've been doing this podcast, and Orlando Magic fans are very familiar with, we're usually talking about injuries. Right now we have some injuries. It's mostly bench players and stuff, but because Paulo and Franz are still bringing it, Cole's coming off the bench, Jalen Suggs is playing at a high level, we don't talk about that stuff as much because it's not as crippling as it used to be. And we've kind of made it our peace with the fact that, we're not going to see Markelle Fultz all the time. We're not going to see Jonathan Isaac all the time. But imagine if you had guys of their caliber when they're healthy, because they're very good players when they're healthy, in the lineup regularly. That's what we need. And I think it's no knock on these gentlemen. I'm a big Fultz guy. But, like, at some point, you got to get players that are going to play. I've never liked this about a lot of these other stars, some of these guys that are on this list, Ben Simmons, sometimes Kawhi Leonard. It's no fault on their own. They're obviously good players when they play. I need guys that are durable that can go out and play. You get an injury like an ACL or something, that's a serious thing. You're out for a while, okay. But, like, you can't continue to have the nagging injuries every day to day. You got to at some point take a look and be like, is my body ready to take on an NBA schedule? It's not. So maybe I shouldn't take up a roster spot. Maybe I shouldn't make these players, these fans believe in me, this organization pay for me. You know what I mean? At some point, I get that they want to just make their money and get out, and they love playing basketball. But, like, if you can't do it at the highest level, you're hurting stuff. You're hurting the way we go forward. And I think at some point you got to take a look at, take the I like this guy out of it and start to realize that we are on the cusp of becoming a top tier team in the Eastern Conference. And we need those guys. We need, or somebody in their place. And I think it's about time to figure that out. I know your bet for Markelle Fultz comeback player of the year is gone because of this. That's why I brought this one up. But, like, it's just it's an issue. I like that the NBA is doing this with the ineligible for postseason awards. I think it's good. I think they should do the same thing for the All-Star game. I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. I feel like those quite a few thoughts.
No, your thoughts are legitimate, Peach, and your thoughts make me sad. Make me sad. I did have a Markelle Fultz most improved player bet this year. That's obviously not going to hit. It's really tough, It's tough to see these guys that you enjoy playing. Markelle Fultz at the end of last year, man, was looking fantastic. The shot looked great all the way out to the 3-point line. I'm over here over the summer on other people's podcasts talking about how, hey, that Markelle Fultz shot is coming back around. We might see University of Washington Markelle Fultz come back. And wow, couldn't be further from the truth. He's been listed as left knee tendonitis. It feels like the thoracic outlet syndrome has flared up again, and he's missed all the games pretty much. And yeah, it's going to be interesting for me, Peach, to see what the front office does. What do you do with these players that are kind of they're you see what they can do. You see the flashes. Do you try to re-sign a guy like Jonathan Isaac, a guy like Markelle Fultz? I think Jonathan Isaac has one more year after this on his contract, but it's optional. So do you go ahead and guarantee that year? Do you re-sign Markelle Fultz for what you could imagine would be a bargain compared to their ceiling, and not even their ceiling, but what we've seen them do on the court, but just knowing that can they get on the court is a huge question. And like you alluded to, do you want a guy who, when Jonathan Isaac is on the court, man, in those 12 to 18 minutes he's playing, he looks like a defensive player of the year type of guy, getting 4 blocks in 12 minutes and steals and defending everyone's best player from the point guard to the center and blocking Giannis twice. Like, this type of stuff doesn't happen, but he's taking up a roster spot and he hasn't played, and he's been playing only 12 to 15 minutes, and now he's out again. And Wendell Carter Jr., he's on contract as well, but Markelle Fultz didn't play the first 20 some odd games of last season, struggling. We've seen what he can do, how he makes this team so much better. But what is the front office going to do? Do you re-sign him again to a kind of a song deal? Would they agree to something like that, being realistic and saying, hey, you were out all these games, let's give you kind of like the Wendell Carter contract, which $10 million for a player like Wendell is undervalued, but he'd been injured most of his career, and we're seeing why that contract was probably at $10 million. Would you do something similar like Markelle Fultz in your mind to have him like, okay, as the team progresses, is this a guy that comes off the bench for you? Does he have that level of salary, or is he going to be looking for starter money? And same thing with Jonathan Isaac. Can you get him on like a $8 to $10 million deal, which is a song for a defensive player of the year type of guy, but he hasn't been on the court enough to do that, to even win the award. So I'm going to be really interested to follow what happens at this trade deadline over the year, what the front office does with those contracts, because the biggest ability piece is availability, and these guys, as amazing as some of their other abilities they haven't had that most important one. So it's tough.
Yeah,
man.
if it's up to me, I've reached my limit. But if they're going to stay, it's too hard to keep them both, because if you got 2 injury-prone guys and maybe even a third with Wendell Carter, he seems to be out of the lineup a lot, and then you get someone who gets a legit injury like Joe Ingles or God forbid anyone else, then it's just too many roster spots are missing. You're pulling guys up from the G. It's just not what you need while you're trying to hit that next tier, because meanwhile you've got your 2 superstars playing at a high level every day, keeping you on the map. Jalen Suggs coming in, and Cole, and like all those guys that are there day to day. It's not fair to them.
That's fair. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Man, it's not fair to the fans in Detroit what the Pistons have been doing, Peace. You found this little ditty here. It's just a nice diagram. It's a simple diagram from Hoops Nation to show that NBA teams have you won a game since Rangers won the World Series. Yes, of course, and no. And yes, of course, is 29 teams, and no is 1 team, the Detroit Pistons.
I think you can actually also toss in all of the NBA and the NFL into that circle as well.
NHL, probably.
Because I found this a while ago, but it still holds true. They just lost, I believe, their 28th in a row to the Celtics in OT the other day, which is a heartbreaker. I am at the point where I kind of want to watch a Pistons game, because I think there's a lot of young talent on this team, and I cannot figure out what's going wrong. I know their coach is a bum, so but I think what is happening? Like,
why is their coach a bum? You don't like what is it? More Pistons coach.
That coach isn't that the coach that they always bring in to stink for teams?
Monty Williams. He was just on the Suns. No, Monty Williams.
Oh, it's Monty Williams? See, now I'm even more confused.
No, what makes it even worse, they signed Monty Williams to this like 5-year, I think he's making like $15 million. Like, it's the biggest coach contract in the league. And so they're hemorrhaging money on top of being the worst franchise in NBA history.
What's going on? Look at all the young players they got there. They got Asura Thompson. They got Cade Cunningham. They got Jaden Ivey. Are all these guys playing? Is there a bunch of people injured? I know Cade's playing.
Yeah, no, Cade has been balling. It seems like the parts don't really fit. A guy that has had problems staying on the court is Jalen Duren. That unbelievable
Okay.
center. That guy
Yep.
looks like freaking Dwight Howard with those shoulders, man. He was the youngest player in the league last year. You just love the potential of him, and he's had ankle after ankle after ankle this year, and he's important to their team. I think they just got I don't know which one. I'm sorry. It's either Boyan. Bogdan is on the Hawks. Boyan Bogdanovic is on the Pistons. He was injured, just came back. But yeah, man, you figure they have enough talent there to cobble together something. But I guess not. And Jaden Ivey is not looking so hot. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline. I wrote a piece for Orlando Magic Daily talking about some of the targets. Boyan was on there as a prime target. Are they in sell mode? How big of sell mode are they going to be in? You figure they're not going to want to get rid of like Cade and Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, their most recent picks, but maybe it's all up for grabs, man. Maybe it's a fire sale. I don't know, man. I feel for those Detroit fans.
You got to say it's not a fire sale, but if they can't win a game, it's crazy. I kind of feel like they're us a few years ago where you're starting to put young guys on the roster and hoping it'll work out.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those growing things for this team. If they keep those young guys together, they're going to remember how bad they suck right now and what a laughingstock they are in a couple of years. If they can turn things around, they're going to have a couple of those players obviously grow and a system that will work for them. But I feel like there's some good young pieces there. They shouldn't be this bad. I'm rooting for them to get a win at this point. I kind of just want this to end for them.
Oh, I definitely want it to end. Yeah, like you said, they have a good freaking roster. We'll see.
I mean,
man.
Detroit's not sweating it too much because the Lions are looking good. But I mean, that city's been through a lot, man. Let's not do this to them.
Okay. Let's go now to, if we can. We've been going for 32 minutes, Peach. Can we do you have something on this in-season tournament? Fine, we'll go right to the in-season tournament. You have this post from
You're the LA Lakers, for Christ's sakes. The LA Lakers. You have a shit ton of championships, legit things to hang in the rafters, and you hang this piece of shit next to those. It's a disgrace. All the former Laker players should be pissed off about it. It's absolute hot garbage that they would lift a banner and put it next to NBA championship banners. This is a place where they don't hang Pacific Championship banners, Western Conference Championship banners. They only hang title championships, and I respect the fuck out of that. So hanging this is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They should be ashamed. I know there are guys that are ashamed, and they're not saying anything because the league is telling them to keep it down, but this is absolute bullshit. You know it's bullshit. That's bullshit. You don't hang a banner for this. Not the Lakers. Look, if the Sacramento Kings did it and they don't have any banners, all right, throw it up there.
Yeah.
Get something in the rafters. They have legit
What if
shit.
we won it? If we won it, would you put it up there?
It would probably be up there for us. We don't have a lot of banners, right? We don't even have retired numbers, just the six man. So, like, go ahead and throw it up. But for the LA Lakers, the Boston Celtics, a few select teams, right, like the Golden State Warriors, don't put it up there. You can be proud of it. Great. You had your little trophy celebration. Moving on. Fucking what a waste of time that tournament was. I know they're going to do it again, but hopefully no one ever hangs a banner like that because that is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for the Lakers. I think that's a really terrible move. The NBA must have forced their hand on this. You can't tell me Jerry West was cool with them putting that banner up there. I can see the Jerry West from the cinematic show just cursing a blue streak about putting that up there because he had such a hard time winning an NBA championship. He'd be like, I can't believe they're hanging this up there. I mean, honestly, Kareem, I know Kareem has thoughts. I want to know his honest thoughts. He can't be cool with this.
Wow. Yeah, I was getting ready. I was going to skip this slide, and I'm so glad that I didn't. I was
no, you were. I could tell you were about to skip it. I was like, don't you dare skip this slide.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad I didn't. Yeah, you got to figure it's the NBA telling them they have to do this.
Yeah.
There's no other way that this happens with them doing it. It was fine. I didn't watch a single in-season tournament game outside of any of the ones the Magic were involved in. So it didn't have me. I don't think it was that much of a success if it didn't have me, who was a pretty hardcore NBA fan, watching. But I guess I'm maybe not that hardcore. I'm just a hardcore Magic fan.
I saw a couple of the bonus. I guess they're bonus games. They didn't count. They were just I saw a couple of them, like just because they were on before something else I was going to watch, and it just, yeah, it was a different atmosphere, a different look, but it just sort of was like, yeah, it's not a format that it felt like a college basketball format for NBA guys, except for there's not that same passion and everything that there is in college. So it just, it doesn't work. Just do something else, NBA. But they're going to continue to jam it down your throat until you just accept it, and you're all just going to be like, okay, whatever, I'll eat it. It's here. It's on the plate.
Okay, let's go talk about some more Orlando Magic stuff here. This is the NBA rookies. This was from All Sports Culture. They graded each first-round pick so far for the rookies. I mean, Peace, you're not going to have too much insight on this one. You can't tell me you know any of these fucking rookies or have seen any of them play besides Anthony Black.
Well, I've seen a few, and I've been trying to keep up with like the rookie ladder, wrap up videos and stuff like that, because I like to see what's going on. And I have seen Derek Lively a few times here playing in Dallas. And he's one of the men I'd like to talk about, because you'll notice that he's right after another gentleman who the Magic just had to have, right? Yeah. Because we have to meet our Michigan Wolverines quota for the year. So they're like, hey, let's use that second pick on a guy that can't crack our team when we need, there's been some games lately where we're short benched and he's still not seeing any minutes.
I'm going to see him tonight, Peach. I'm going to Westchester Knicks versus Osceola Magic tonight, and I'll see Jet Howard.
Okay, well, so you're going to get to see some Jet Howard hands on.
Right.
I mean, do they really believe? I mean, look, they even have Anthony Black at a C+, which I think is a little maybe unfair.
Yeah.
But, I'm glad for him that he's been getting the starter minutes because he's getting to experience more of the game. And I feel like he's going to come around. And, he had that one game where he was shooting the ball actually really well. There needs to be more games like that for him. I'm still optimistic that he could turn out into something. But Jet is definitely the big question mark, where it's like, hey, there's some other great players, Jordan Hawkins, and some other good guys, good options that are below him. What was the thought here? We wanted a big man, right? We were interested in a big man. Derek Lively was right there, I thought, for sure, because we like Duke players too, right? So what's the deal? so bring him in. He's good. He's nice. Now, all right. So I understand you're not going to always hit on every draft pick, right? So if we ended up hitting on one of these two, that's pretty good. But, still not quite seeing it with AB yet, but hopefully he develops in. And hopefully he can become the starter, and Fultz would be the backup in a situation, because if you can't count on Fultz to start, I need AB to step it up and play at a better level more often. But do you have any thoughts on any of these other guys?
I mean, I'll start with our guys who we have the most thoughts on, and just talk about AB, who has been starting on our team, which is awesome. If a rookie can come in and start in the NBA, I know he's a high draft pick, but our team is number 4, I think, still in the Eastern Conference. I know I haven't looked at the standings. I think we're still number 4 in the Eastern Conference. That's impressive on its own. But he has been continuing. He just had his career high over 22 or 23 points, something like that. He's been continuing to contribute more and more and more. From the moment he came in, you could tell, all right, this guy navigates the floor tremendously on the defensive side. He's guarding the best player on the other team as a freaking 19-year-old. You love to see that. Huge guard, amazing defensive skills. Now we're starting to see a little bit more. He's understanding the offense, cutting to the basket a little bit better, knocking down the set shot from 3, which we've all just wanted, a point guard who will at least shoot the 3. Just please shoot the 3, Markelle. We just wanted someone to shoot the 3. He's doing it at 32% from beyond the arc from a rookie. That's not bad. I know the volume's not crazy, but hey, it's something, and he's making some of them. I'll take 3 out of 10. So I really like what's happening with Anthony Black. And as Markelle continues to be more injured, hopefully he's going to make me eat these words, but you see Anthony Black more and more, and you're like, oh, okay, I could see this guy developing into a starting point guard as long as that three-point shot continues to come, because I believe you really do need to have a guard who can shoot to win a championship. And so, but that's all good. I think C+ is definitely too harsh. I would give him maybe a B-, a B, something like that. I like where he is. I don't know. Jet Howard, I'm going to see him tonight. And should I say any more about that? Like that's not
I mean, you're going to see him in the G League, though.
Right.
And we all know everybody's great in the G League. Caleb Houston drop 30 in the G League.
Right.
So.
And then you see Caleb get into the games and he looks like a little bit lost at times. So my point was the one that you brought up and why I was so frustrated on draft night. I thought, yeah, we need some more shooting. So a guard, some type of guard that can shoot, and then a big. We need some big depth here going into this season. And so when we picked Anthony Black, wasn't stoked about that because the MO on him was not a willing shooter. All right, he's done a little bit to assuage some of my fears on that, but okay, whatever. Now I'm expecting with our 11th pick, okay, we're going to get a big. Is it going to be like, is Jarris Walker going to fall to us? Is it going to be who the guy, a lot of people wanted, Taylor Hendricks? And to the front office's credit, I guess, neither of those guys have panned out either. Jarris Walker, that's really surprising to me. I thought he would be really good, very smart big man. I mean, we haven't even seen Taylor Hendricks really in Utah. So both of those guys are at a D rating on this. But like you said, man, drafting Jet Howard, I didn't know what to do. 2 guards, the guys around me who knew ball, they were like, what the hell is your team doing? And then right after that, you have Derek Lively drafted by the Thunder and then traded to the Mavericks. So I guess Derek Lively was there at that time for us. So it was just frustrating. And now he's killing it. So I believe in hypotheticals. You're anti-hypothetical, which I respect a lot, because I don't want to do the trap of putting what he's doing in Dallas and saying he'd do the exact same thing in Orlando, because he's not playing next to Luka. Luka throws the lob better than almost anyone, maybe except Trae Young, and he wouldn't necessarily have that maybe here in Orlando. But man, are you telling me with Wendell being down, it wouldn't be nice to see a young guy like Derek Lively going out there and getting some center minutes too, along with Goga and Moritz, who's been playing out of his mind in Dallas and could probably be doing some pretty good things too for us here in Orlando? That is really tough, and it's going to be, I don't know. It's tough to say there's going to be a stain on this front office. They've done so many things right, but there are some blemishes. What we alluded to earlier in the show, we talked about earlier in the show, signing injury-prone players. That's one blemish for them, and this could be another blemish for them. Passing on a guy like Derek Lively to get Jet Howard, if Jet Howard doesn't develop into the shooting guard / backup 3 of the future for us.
Well, plus, like you said, we needed shooting, right? We still need 3-point shooting, still to this moment, at this point. And yet there were other 3-point shooters that went after him too, that like we knew were good to go. I get that that's what Jet was labeled as, was a shooter. So at first we're like, oh, he's the guy who's going to fill the shooting role. But yet they must be seeing something in practice and evaluations that he's not ready to even get those deep bench minutes for the Magic right now, which is crazy to me with the, when 4 guys are out, that a lottery pick is not cool to get some minutes off the bench. Because I'm not that impressed with what I see from Caleb. He's played well in spurts, but let's try somebody else at it. And he's not even good enough to get that try. It's worrisome for me.
Another one that jumps out here, because I know I mentioned him in draft talk, was UConn Husky Jordan Hawkins.
Who's shooting it?
Yeah, who is, playing for the Pelicans at a very high level and shooting the ball at a very high level. So that's just disappointing when you see what you need. I mean, Grady Dick was there too, and a lot of Magic fans, they wanted the Dick, us included. Would have loved some Dick. But
look, if you'd have made a mistake going for Dick, we would all get it.
Yeah.
Right? Because, people do that. You swing and a miss on a Dick, then, hey,
it happens.
We get it.
Yeah, you just got to get onto another Dick. Got to get on the next,
But you take a chance on a Jet? You're gonna put your life on a Jet? I mean, that's
they get delayed all the time. Sometimes the flights get canceled. You can't do that.
You gotta do like a 180-point check on a Jet before you get on it and take off. I don't know if they checked all those parts.
I don't know, man. I hope it all works out. I hope Jet Howard next year is solidly in the rotation, and we're looking back on this time with laughter and how we could have been so silly. But we'll see, man. We'll see. All right. Last one for the social media roundup, and then we're gonna go to court. We've got this hilarious exchange, Peach, that you brought up. This was in the game versus the 76ers the other night, which I can't believe we lost still. Cole Anthony instructed the teammates to not let anyone greet Mo Bamba. And this was posted by Bleacher Report, which Mo Bamba actually replied to. And he says, LMAO, man, F y'all anyway. Crying, laughing emoji.
Yeah, well, I brought this one out for a couple of reasons. Obviously, I love that Cole is taking the game seriously, but then, you know, I know they all said hi to Mo afterwards. He's very tight with a lot of guys on this team. We all wish Mo Bamba the best, right? There's no ill will for us towards Mo Bamba.
No, but he'll be out of the league next year, but no.
Perhaps, but it's funny to see him weigh in on this because this is a Bleacher Report post, right? This is not the Orlando Magic. This is another one of those moments where it's getting us out there in the zeitgeist. I will tell you that I did drop into the comments here at the time. There was only 473. There's more now. It's a mess in there. So if you're an Orlando Magic fan, I would recommend you not go in there because all you're going to see is a bunch of hate from other fans going, Cole Anthony thinks he's badass. He thinks he's good. Who the fuck the Magic think they are anyway? It's a mess, bro. I'm telling you, don't go in there. Don't go in there. But it's at least getting us out there and into all those trolls. It's getting into their head that like, hey, the Magic are here. We're around. We're doing stuff. They didn't obviously get that this was a playful thing.
Right.
But like either way, you're putting us on Bleacher Report more often. You're getting us seen by the regular NBA basketball media, and it's helping to change that narrative that we're getting slept on. So you got to take these little moments where I'm telling you, don't go in the comments. I know you want to. Don't.
I'm going. You can't. It's like that's that reverse psychology. You tell someone not to do it, and they want to do it 10 times more.
All right, get in the comments then and swim around like Scrooge McDuck in a pile of coins. I don't care.
Oh, great reference by you. Man, so maybe that loss against 76 is what caused Cole to cut his hair. We'll see.
And talk about the hair yet, but I almost put that for my psychological check-in because I'm confused at that move. You got a signature look and then you just throw it away like that. Plus, as a bald man, if you got a nice head of hair and you just decide to go bald, it's a little bit of a slap in the face to us. I mean, we had to deal with Markelle doing it, and now you, Cole? Come on, bro. I'm a little hurt right now.
No, he's going clean into 2024. Keeping his record clean.
If he gets a deal with Mr. Clean based on this move, I'm for it. But otherwise, I don't know.
All right. Well, some of the individuals who aren't clean, Peach, we got to send them to court. We got to get ready for Cousins Court. Thank you, Attorney Pichet, getting dressed up for court.
Yeah, you know, you gotta look the part here.
I'm doing too many parts. I've got the judge gavel, but I also have your bailiff hat. We should have sent you or with at least one of these costumes to Detroit. I mean to Dallas, not Detroit. Sorry.
Detroit. Don't you put those L's on me?
I'll have to bring this down in February when I come. Bring you the bailiff hat. Okay, let's go. Court is in session. The Right Honorable Red Lettuce is presiding. The first case before us is one that is in the NBA. Draymond Green suspension. Is the NBA guilty of being too harsh or illegitimate in this? Is the NBA guilty? What say you, Piche? Attorney Pichet.
No, I think the NBA is doing the right thing here. I think it's time with all the shenanigans from Draymond Green to put the hammer down. And in a separate filing that we may make later, I think there could be a case coming against any current NBA player currently on a podcast and the things that they're allowed to say and do. But we all know Draymond has a voice and always wants to use it and exercise it, and that is his right as an American. But on the court, his actions are always very questionable.
Yeah.
And if I'd like to use myself as an example here, as a youth, there were some times where I got into some trouble. I remember youth basketball, playing for the team, the Hawks at the time. I wore number 4, by the way, in honor of Spud Webb. And there was one game where I had probably 20, 25 fouls. There was no foul out rule at this level of basketball. And the player playing against me was a couple years older and quite good. And I couldn't stop him. I was a little shorter back then, hadn't hit the growth spurt yet. So yeah, I just fouled him. He still made a fair amount of his free throws, but not a bunch. But it really kept us in the game. I believe we won. And it became this whole big thing, and parents were outraged, and they finally made a rule about players fouling out after 10 fouls. And that was all because of your boy. And that's the thing, is that every once in a while you get away. And I used to be away where I'd be like that guy that wanted to get in someone's shorts, wanted to get in someone's head and be that disruptor, right? But there's a line that you can't cross too often. And well, you like to try to be that guy that gets close to the line and doesn't go over. Draymond's clearly gone over the line several times, especially when you think back to the playoffs with hitting guys in the groin. It's just an issue with the flailing, and he knows what he's doing. We all know our body control, right? I know my body control. As a tall guy, look, I'm 6'4". I'm way shorter than these guys in the NBA. If I walk into a China shop, I'm walking like this, baby. I'm not trying to knock anything off the shelf I got to pay for. I'm very aware of my spatial surroundings. So I know that Draymond knows where his arms are flailing around and his legs are flailing around, because it's ingrained in you to not wipe out herds of kids if you're ever near a playground or wherever it is that you go, right? You're aware of it. So I'd never buy the, oh, I didn't know, or I was a flailing around. And it's time that they finally put their foot down and stood behind this and kept this man behind bars. So he realizes you got to clean it up a little bit. You're still that guy that stirs up everybody's loins, right? But back it off a little, back off the bows and back off that. You're not helping your team when you're not there. You're just creating this alternate BS for people to talk about with one of arguably the greatest teams of all time, the Warriors, and what they've done. And he's a big part of it, success, but he's a big part of the black eye that team has too. And so I think it's right to keep him out, let him know that this won't be accepted going forward. His career's almost over. You want to go out like this?
Counsel, very persuasive arguments. You could have stopped at hitting another man in the nuts. For this judge, that's as far as you need to go. This is dismissed. NBA is not guilty. They are quite within their rights of doing this to Draymond Green. I'm even going to say not even doing this to Draymond Green in putting forward this punishment for Draymond Green's actions. You can't hit another man in the genitalia or slap him in the face in front of a bunch of people, apparently, because he's just doing too much, man. It's just frustration that they suck. Like, they're not good anymore. And he's not dealing with it well. He's not dealing with it well. Okay, moving on to our next case. This is, the court will now see the case brought by Maddie's World at Maddie's World Peace. He cites, miss me with the only voting for your players on your team stuff. There's actual players that deserve votes. What Mr. Maddie's World is referring to is fans selecting for the NBA All-Star voting only the players on their team when they know in their heart of hearts that that player probably does not, or definitely does not, deserve an NBA All-Star nod. Now, are these fans guilty of not knowing ball? And Peesh, Counselor Peesh, before you say your argument, because I heard you wanted to put an alternate motion in, and I'm not going to let you take over my court just yet, I will say that fans can do what fans want to do, baby. It stands for fanatic. Okay? Let the fans rock. If I want to give Cole Anthony an all-star nod, I'm going to give Cole Anthony an all-star nod. If I say that Caleb Houston's 8 minutes with 1 of 3 from beyond the arc is worthy, Caleb, you go to the all-star game, sir. And I'm going to put you on my team. That is all. The judge, I just want to rest. And then now, sir, you may present your argument.
Yes, I believe we'll be filing a separate injunction against fans' stupidity in their voting, although I'm sure it will come up because it is relevant to the topic that we're discussing. Listen, I agree with Maddie's World Peace on this one. And by the way, if these are if you were to show Exhibit A at this point, if these are the gentlemen that he has selected, I have no problem with any of these people. Obviously, I don't think that everyone is going to have Franz Wagner on their ballot, but I'm okay if you're a fan of a team going ahead and saying, I'm going to pick our 2 best players, or that guy that's on the fringe for us, I'm putting that guy in.
Okay.
That's cool. I'm fine with that. What makes it gross negligence for me is when you start to vote for your entire team's starting lineup, or start voting for guys who have barely played. I better not see any Wendell Carter Jr.'s on anybody's roster or anything like that. It's just not fair to the other guys throughout the league that worked hard, that deserve to get in there. And I really think that the NBA ought to change the balloting and only say, hey, we're only allowing you to select from these 3 or 4 players per team. Because we almost never see any more than 3 or 4 players from a team at most. Because there's a lot of teams in the league.
Yeah.
The team is not that big, right? And you want to have a guy from each team there. So I get you want to put some guys from each team on the ballot, but let's lessen that. Let's just trim the fat. Let's make this a little easier. And by the way, I also feel like if I'm a voter, I only get 1 vote. It's 1 vote. When it comes to voting for anything else, I don't get multiple votes. Why, when it comes to fan votes, does all of a sudden my vote matter more because I have no life and can sit there all day and vote? Well,
don't forget about the double counting days too there, Peesh.
Right, and that's ridiculous. I believe there's also a day where they count 4 times. I think the whole thing is just getting a little watered down, and I don't think it's great for the league. It's definitely not good for all of the teams, right? It's okay for your top stars, your LeBrons, your Steph Currys, guys that are always going to make it. It's for guys who are trying to break through and become all-stars, and you want to see them represented too, because that helps grow your game. Those teams we talked about earlier in the show, they need some representation there to let people know that, hey, we're coming. And I'm pretty sure for the Orlando Magic this year, it's probably going to only be Paolo Banchero. But I'm okay with everyone going to their card here and adding Franz Wagner. But anyone beyond that, please don't. I rest.
You've brought up some great arguments there, counselor. I must say, though, it is not this court's job to regulate the behavior of fans, and so they are not guilty. If they don't know ball and they would like to put whomever on their card that they would like, they may do so, sir. They may do so. So, all you Caleb Houston fanatics out there, throw them on.
The Caleb Houstons, they call it.
Okay, this last one here. And counselor, I might have to remove you from your position for this one, because you may not be able to speak honestly on this matter, sir, because there have been many that would point to you as the progenitor of this ideation. And I use big words because I'm a judge and I do judgy things.
Well, that's what they all say about me. They say, what a pro-generator that guy is.
Okay, so are Magic fans that are calling for the trade of WCJ guilty of destroying the vibes? Now, sir, counselor, let me give a little bit of context on this one. It has been said by yourself on this very program, floating the idea of, hey, this is an attractive contract. Maybe other teams might be interested. What could we get for this? And Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer must have been listening to that episode, because he went on his show months later and said, I wonder whether the Magic would be willing to part with Wendell Carter Jr. Orlando is thriving while Carter is sidelined with a fractured hand, but they'd still ask for a lot for him because he's one of the NBA's better Jokic defenders and can provide the type of perimeter feel and shooting that Jay Will from the Oklahoma City does not. The Thunder could also use an upgrade over Josh Giddey, who is a solid playmaker, blah, 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 blah. So he is suggesting that the Oklahoma City Thunder need a player like WCJ, and that the Magic fans should be interested and willing to listen to this, not to get anything necessarily back, but to get those picks and then turn those picks into someone who might fit the roster in need. But is this, and fans who would ascribe to this viewpoint, are they killing the vibe? Counselor, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. This was a situation that I brought up a while ago. Just as I'm the kind of guy that if we're driving down the road and I see that there's an obstruction in the road up ahead,
Yeah.
I will alert the driver if I don't think they see it that this thing is up there. It could happen, just so that we don't hit it. Now, a lot of my life has been involved sitting in the passenger seat and watching the car crash into said obstruction. But that being said, on this one, I feel like it's happening again because I mentioned it. I threw it out there as a possibility. Team's on a huge run. Who's a guy who's not part of it? Who's a guy that could be, because of a contract and his ability to play, be a good trade piece, right? Like if we're going to get something good from us is probably going to have to go at this point. We don't have a lot of picks to trade out or young guys that we don't want on our team. So that's what you have to think about. And I just feel like I never, ever intended to destroy any vibes on this team at all because the vibes were good when I said it. And I wasn't looking to destroy any vibe. I was just pointing out that, like, look, people probably don't want to take a chance on Isaac. People probably might not want to take a chance on Fultz. Those are two other guys that haven't been a massive part of this run. So I looked at somebody that has a little sexier contract and is really good at the things he does. And that's Wendell Carter Jr. Look, I want him back on the floor for us playing at a high level. Right now, he's kind of in there and he doesn't quite look the same yet. And he just worries me as the next injury prone guy on this team behind that. And if we can avoid that next 4 to 5 years of flipping a coin, whether he's going to be in the lineup or not, and get something nice for it, well, isn't that kind of what we did when we got him in the first place by picking up Franz and him? So look, we already got Franz. Wendell's just playing with house money at this point. And he's a good player when he plays. So I'd like him to be there, not trying to destroy vibes. Always, as always, just trying to keep it real, Your Honor.
Counselor, very good arguments. You also neglected, though, to mention Jet Howard as a part of that deal. So.
I know what I said.
You bring up some great points there, Counselor, and I tend to side with you on this one. Not guilty. Fans who are thinking and just positing and hypothesizing are simply doing that, and they are welcome to their thoughts and their ideas. And this court will not regulate a fan's ideations or ideas. And I think, sir, if I may put my 2 cents in, this is even less about WCJ, and maybe I think this conversation's only happening because we see Goga Bitadze just playing so well in that starting lineup. From Magic 24/7 at 0123 says Goga has the third best defensive EPM in the NBA, which is pretty amazing. The NBA's defensive tracking data on him is also impressive, and he does a difference impact comparison using some statistics that are far greater than my Princeton degree that I have because I'm a judge and stuff, and I do judgy things. He does a couple comparisons, and you can just see that in comparing the numbers, the eye test is one thing, the numbers are another. The eye test shows you that Goga is playing some really nice rim protection, that he is defending very well, and when you compare that to Wendell Carter Jr.'s last year and Rudy Gobert and Anthony Davis's this year, like Goga's in that conversation. He's better than Wendell was last year in all of these situations, and he's not crazy far behind some of these other players who are considered tops in the league. So I think this conversation only happens because Magic fans feel so good about another guy who was kind of just picked up off the waiver wires, which was Goga Bitadze. And it's not a knock necessarily on Wendell Carter Jr. It's more of a credit to Goga, and that's how I like to look at it.
Yeah, I think everywhere you go, anywhere in life, if another person comes on a team, even if you're at work, right, and you all kind of have the same job, but a new guy comes in, they're better, they're more efficient, they're getting things done, and then the other guy's out on vacation for a while, you start to wonder, hey, do we need that guy, right? Like, and then your job becomes in jeopardy. So it means when you come back, you've got to at least match what that guy was doing to get your spot back, because there's not the union ain't going to help you here keep your job. You got to make sure that you can deliver at a Goga like level. And I'm guessing because we had Goga and liked what he brought and we're comfortable with Moritz Wagner, that's why we didn't go get Derek Lively in that draft that we talked about earlier. And so far it's working out okay because we're missing Isaac and Wendell Carter, two of your bigs, and it's still going all right.
Yeah.
So that's why if it's still going all right and you're missing some of those guys, you start to think, could I turn these things into something else that will actually play for us or benefit another area? Because if we're not keeping Wendell, or if we're not keeping Markelle Fultz, for example, and we can get rid of Wendell in some sort of package to bring in another starting point guard, it has to be considered is all I'm saying. No vibes are trying to be destroyed. Let's just talk about it.
No, yeah, you've got to consider it. You've got to consider it. All right. Well, cases are closed. Cousins Court has wrapped. It's now time to go into the final end of the show. I'm going to keep the robe on, P, so you can keep the tie. You look sexy.
I'm going to keep it up, and I'm going to open up the coat.
Okay. Business, but casual. All right, we're going into our large ending. Make sure you don't go anywhere for that, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do, one more shout out for all of our second cousins and all-stars over on the Patreon. Magic Player History, Bolby the Dawn, Paulo and Franz's Warmth, Andy, Dylan Holden, Drum, Rafael Perez, Breadhead, Matthew Bell, Dan Young, Gloria and Damien, Connor, and Yachty. And a lot of those names, well, not a lot, but definitely a handful of those names were people that I met in person for the first time down in Orlando at last year's inaugural Court Cousins Night, which was a freaking blast, man. We're doing it again this year, Thursday, March 21st. We're going to be giving out tons of giveaways. The ticket link is going to be in the comments or in the description of this video. If you're one of the first 10 people, you're getting entered in to win a jersey. But if you go, you're probably going to be walking away with something. It was just a great time last year. Come out. We'd love to hang with you and get some discounts on some awesome seats in the lower bowl, $80. So hope to see you there, Second Cousins.
Yeah, I don't think there was anybody, or at least any group, if you came with like 2 or 3 people, that didn't win some fabulous prizes.
Yeah, we had like 20 people last year. I'm hoping that we can get even more this year and make it a real party. We're going to have a good time. All right, it's that time again now, Peesh, for the large ending. Where's the button? Well, where did it go? Let's see. There.
It's back here.
Oh,
in the Kia Center side.
All right, Peesh. Is this yours? You start us off.
Yeah, the large ending is now brought to you by the Kia Center, the Soul Center.
Yes, thank you.
Speaking of things you like, what was your best Crimmy gift? And I've framed it as Crimmy because I know that's a word you love to use. And I've tried it down here, and people do not like it. So.
They don't like it. It's okay. It'll catch on, just like Soul Center. Best Crimmy gift. I got some good ones. I think Nadra got me some aquaponics stuff to get like a tutorial, an online tutorial. That was really cool. And I really appreciated that. She got me like horseback riding thing, so it's a cool experience that we can share together in the Catskills in New York. So yeah, I'll put the aquaponics stuff at the top.
Okay.
All right. And moving on from, well, did you have a favorite Crimmy? What'd you do for Crimmy? I know you're down there in Dallas.
Yeah, I had a friend from Austin who had some family up here in Frisco, right by where I work. He invited me over to their house for Christmas, so it was great. I got to see there was a big family there. I got to see like a good Texas Christmas. They had some good food. They opened up their home to me. It was a lot of fun. We watched some football. We played a couple of games. It was a good afternoon for me. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh yeah. Any plans for New Year's?
On New Year's, there is a Stars game that night against the Chicago Blackhawks. So I'm going to go to that. And then after the game, I hear they do all these fireworks downtown. And I hear that I've gotten a little insight on what goes on. It sounds like I'll either be at a bar or then come out into the plaza and watch fireworks from there. Some combination of, hey, I'm kind of a free agent, but I'm feeling really good. I'm going to be signed soon. So
it's driving up the market, the value of the fish.
This next one, man, I got to tell you, I've been thinking about this one for a while. I always thought to myself, at some point, we're going to put this in the large ending. And I think now enough time has passed.
Okay.
Did you know about the pee bucket that I had when I lived in your attic.
What the fuck?
I'm
Is it
guessing
the Home
no.
Depot bucket?
No.
Okay.
I had a New Jersey Devils popcorn bucket with a lid that I used to keep. Now this is important, ladies and gentlemen. Once you get to be a certain age, when you gotta go, you gotta go. And a lot of times I have to get up in the middle of the night to go. The middle of the night for me would often be when you were getting ready for work. So a lot of times I'd go down those stairs and hear the shower on. Nah, it was time to go, man. And there's only one bathroom in that house. So
Yeah.
I made a pee bucket that I would pee, and then I'd go empty it downstairs in the toilet. I was obviously pretty good at hiding it if you did not notice.
Now that I recall, I did see you walking down a little carefully with that at one time. So it's not here, is it?
No, I mean, I threw those away.
Okay,
It was fine.
thank
I
God.
mean,
All right, jeez. Not an
it's a
animal.
makeshift toilet, but I mean, hey, it's, you're up in the attic, you can't even hear. It's a long ways away to get down
Yeah.
there. It's cold.
Okay.
I did what I had to do.
I respect it. I'm not mad about it. Okay. Oh, this is all right. I was confused and I wrote this one. So in 2024, what is the on-court gift? The thing from the Magic you're hoping to see on the court that would be a gift for you this year?
I will go ahead and say a first round playoff win.
Okay.
A series win. That would be something I think that would be real good for them. As much as I know making the playoffs itself is a jump already.
Yeah.
I can't have us get in there and losing 4 games.
Okay.
Or 5 games. That's not good times. If we lost a 7-game series, at least there's that. But if we could get the first round win, I'd be pretty stoked about it. That is, I think it's attainable as well. Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not the kind of guy that dreams for a gift of like, I would like to get an entire ranch full of horses, because that's not something that's probably going to be there. So I would keep it more to like a Magic jersey, which is the probability of happening.
If we stay in the 4th seed, man, I think the Knicks are behind us right now, and we beat them last night without Mitchell Robinson. But whatever, we got injuries too. That's doable. That's doable. We stay in the 4th seed.
I think as long as we stay in that 4-5 range,
we got to stay in the 4-5.
As long as we avoid the 1 or 2 for a series, I think that would be good.
Yeah. Okay.
I stole this one from you, but moved it ahead. Got to ask you about New Year's resolutions. I know you're always looking inward, and you have thoughts and things to moving forward. We've heard a lot about that from you on the show. What is there one concrete resolution that you've got for 2024?
I honestly haven't sat down and worked it out just yet. I like to have really concrete action steps, so this is going to feel a little all over the place to me. But I'm looking for a little bit more connection, like in-person connection this year. So I'm joining a men's group, and I'm hoping to go to more S meetings, and along with connection is picking up the phone more. I don't know if you've noticed, I've been calling you more as opposed to texting. I don't know if you've noticed that. You pick up and you're like, yeah? What? Why? I'm just trying to do that more, to talk to more people, and to continue to make connections. So I think getting more connection is probably my New Year's resolution. But you just moved it before me, so now I look like I'm just ticky-tacking on the back of what was your idea, even though I put it in the document first, everybody.
That's why I mentioned it, because I wanted to give you the credit for it, although it's the end of the new year. It's not like you came up with a real stunner here.
That's fair. So what about you, sir? What, if any, resolutions do you have for 2024?
Yeah, on a serious note, I really like what you just said. It makes a lot of sense, and for me, I really do need to do that. I got to expand my base of people that I know and get face-to-face with around here. Most everyone I know works for the Stars. Thus, no one I hang out with or talk to is impressed that I work for the Stars. I like to get that rub. At least. No, but it'd be nice to just make some friends and get like a group of people. So I've got to start looking into maybe getting back into comedy, or just finding people with like interests. Yeah. And getting out there a little bit. So that's it for me. And on a goofy note, but a real note, as always, the great Adam Carolla said a few years ago as his New Year's resolution, my New Year's resolution is always that other people get their shit together. care about other people.
Yes.
Care about other people. Stop walking around and not giving a crap about people. If someone says hello to you, say hello back. It's not that hard. Like, what are we doing here? We live in a society. We're all breathing. We're all doing the same stuff. Can we try being a little nicer to the average human beings? You don't know what people are going through out there. Let's go, everybody. Get it together.
Amen to that. We never know what's going on in each other's lives. So let's spread some kindness in 2024. Looking forward to seeing you all for episode 59 and down in Orlando at the Soul Center on March 21st, baby. I'll see you in a couple weeks, Peace. I love you. Peace out, man.
I love you. Thanks for coming, everybody.